Hey everybody, how you doing today? I've been asked by a lot of people, friends and relatives, actually. They say I should have like an about me video, just let you know a little bit more about myself. I don't really like talking about myself, but I guess they wanted me to explain my accident and stuff like that. I feel like I've said this story a million times, and a lot of people come and approach me and ask me, do you mind if they ask, what happened? It doesn't bother me. I don't know why it would offend anybody to have to explain what happened. I mean, it's just part of life. Something happened, an accident. Some people get offended. I don't know why, but I guess they must. They wouldn't ask, why, if they could actually ask. November 11th, 1990, I was in a motorcycle accident. I had brought my bike down to Massachusetts. I had a vehicle, and also the transmission was giving me a lot of problems, and I had my bike stored up in Maine, so we went up and grabbed that. A friend of mine. We got the bike and drove it all the way from Maine to Massachusetts. But the tire was a brand new tire on the rear tire, and when you have a new tire, it's wicked slippery. So we sanded the sides down on the tire. But if the tire is round and you're mostly driving straight, you're going to wear the center fine. But if you have to lean at all, you come onto one side of the tire, the other side of the tire, and you back on that slippery part of the tire. I had been driving the bike for about a week in Massachusetts and didn't have any problems. But come to a corner that was a main road to come just like this. Instead of this road just coming and merging on like you think, this one did almost like an S, slowed down to get to that road. They brushed a lot on people, jumping on that road at speed on that corner, I guess. But so that bike that I had, FZR 600, 1989 at the time. Obviously the accident was 90, so it's not a very old bike. It just started to lean into that corner. And that was such a hard, sharp S-turn that the tire got onto that slippery part of the tire, and out from underneath me the bike went. And at that moment, it felt like everything started slowing right down. And I was thinking in my mind, great, I just got this bike down here. It's going to get scratched up. I didn't think I was going to get hurt. I wasn't going that fast. I had looked at the speedometer right before I hit the brakes. I always did. I was probably around 30, as I was slowing down to kind of get into the corner. And I had taken my buddy's bike on that same corner. He had a Nighthawk 650. I'd taken it on a couple of days before. I knew, I was fine at the speed. But because of that tire, and it was in the fall, November, slid right off underneath me and put me right into the guardrails. My leg got pinned between the guardrails and motorcycle, snapped my femur, and I have a compound fracture come out way up in the top part of my femur. Broke right out of the skin. Fractured, demolished my L1 vertebrae. Fractured my clavicle in a couple places, collarbone, and fractured some ribs, and had a pretty good concussion. All in a split second of that's how it happens. So they flew me in a helicopter to UMass Medical in Worcester. I was really close to Worcester. So I had multiple surgeries. And they put a metal rod in my femur bone, put metal rods going the length of 5 of my vertebrae, and they'd take part of my hip bone, cut that out, make a new L1 vertebrae, and put that in with it, replace of what was left. There was no more L1 that I had. It was destroyed. So they had to make a new vertebrae there, put that in. And then they put metal rods, titanium rods, the length of 5 vertebrae in my back, and wired that all in. Again, also had clavicle fractures and rib fractures. So it was pretty uncomfortable for a while. I was extremely healthy and very strong at the time. I'd competed in powerlifting in 1990 in the spring in Massachusetts and took third in New England. And the doctor said that's probably the only reason why I was still alive. I was pretty nip and tuck there for a little bit, I guess, when I first got there. But I pulled through that, and I was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks. Then I was sent to a rehabilitation hospital for another 2 months in Massachusetts. And then I moved back up to Maine after that, to live with my parents again, because I couldn't do much on my own at that time. So I moved to Maine, and I was in a rehab there, going 3 times a week at Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor for a year, until my insurance decided that they're all done paying for rehabilitation. So that was that. At first they said I weren't sure if they're going to live. Then they say I'd never walk again. By the time I was finished rehab in Bangor, I was able to walk with crutches short distances and use a wheelchair. So that was the accident. Motorcycle accident, just a freak thing. Everybody says, I bet you'll never get on another bike again. And it's like, I don't live that way. I have a 4-wheeler now. I drive all over the place, everywhere I can anyway. Life's too short to, worry about things like that. Accidents are accidents. To me, in my own philosophy, my own mind, God just had that written in the cards for me, whether I was jumping out into a pool or in a car that day or a motorcycle, whatever it was just, something I needed to go through. And it kind of slowed me down a little bit. Being young, I was 23 at the time. I had my accident. And, young and dumb and think you're invincible. And that slowed me down and force-fed me patience, which probably needed at the time. And you learn a lot. And you deal with a lot. But everybody does. I know there's a lot more people far worse off than I am. I can move my legs enough to walk with crutches a little bit. Starting to lose some strength at my age. I would be 52 this year. And it's just getting harder to move around. My shoulders are worn out now. I've had surgery on my right shoulder once, and I've had 2 in my left now. This year it'll be 29 years since that accident. And so that's the accident. But I love the outdoors. Again, this accident's kind of slowed me down to get me to look back and see what I really liked and what I should, really focus on. And it really kind of tweaked everything a little bit, because obviously there's a bunch of things now that I couldn't do. I used to use my strength all the time where I worked and stuff, and I used to work construction, and one of the greatest compliments I ever got from somebody was if Shane had a place to put his feet, he could move the earth. I don't think I was ever obviously that strong. I know there's people plenty stronger than I am, but I was only 160 at that time when I was benching 320, 330. So I was stronger than most people at the time. But that's just how, you got to deal with life, and learn to take it in stride and do the best you can do and adapt. You need to adapt. That's one thing that you have to do, and I try to do that the best that I can. Life's too short. If anybody who's disabled has any questions, again, I am been disabled for, a paraplegic for almost 30 years now. If you have any questions about things, I would be, glad to help, glad to answer anything that you may, have any questions about, about how do you get around, what things do you do on, for fun, what do you do, in general, how do you get in the shower, whatever you need to know. I'm open and willing to help people out. So, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.